Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Tokusatsu, taking the form of many shows including Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Metal Heroes. And today, a group of fans come together to review it for you as Toku Secrets.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Toku Secrets podcast presented by animesecrets.org. I'm your host, Boken Silver, Nathan Desa, and today we are going to be returning to our series, monthly series, where we take a look at the current Sentai airing, Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger. We got the whole crew on again today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Go ahead, guys.
Patrick Shinkenrud.
Rizwan, Gokai Red, and man, do I have a serious case of deja vu right now.
Green, and I'm Anthony, but I wish we had to do this again. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, for the go ahead, Riz. Tell them.
I was gonna say, in case you couldn't tell from our intro, we recorded this already, but here we are again because our audio decided to be a nightmare that I couldn't fix. So we're doing it again! Yay!
Hey.
Before we jump in, there is one thing I want to do just briefly, since this we have posted another podcast since this happened, but I did want to, but this is the first time I remember doing this. When Riz premiered our Mighty Morphin Season 1 review, we had someone in the live chat named Necrom 002. He was in the live chat just leaving some pretty cool commentary. A big thing that he mentioned was that he wants to see us review RPM at some point, which, and I did respond on my own personal account, but I just want to say, Necrom, in case you're watching this, we will review RPM. We do intend to do reviews, like full season reviews of every Power Ranger season. Now, whether or not we'll do that before we decide to review Engine Sentai Go-Onger, or if we just review RPM just because we decide to do it, we can't tell you that, but I can assure you that we'll review RPM at some point. I just wanted to clarify that. So with that being said, there's no other big things to give a shout out to, so let's jump in. First off, we need to do a brief recap of King-Ohger. We reviewed episodes 2 through 5 in the previous episode, where pretty much the last couple of episodes, pretty much all 4 of those episodes was Gira traveling to the different kingdoms, and he was meeting Yanma, Himeno, Kaguraki, the other King-Ohgers. Then he got captured and was put on trial by Rita, who is who's like the justice of the Terra world. And while Rita was investigating Gira's crime, it was discovered that he is actually the younger brother of Raklis, which makes him a prince, and therefore he does have the right to be Kawagata Ohger. And then we got this big thing where, the 5 King-Ohgers sort of came together to fight off a Bugnarok attack, and then they went their separate ways. But unfortunately, one of the greater Shu gods, the god Scorpion, was stolen from Rita's kingdom, and that brings us to where we are now. So we have, so here's a big thing to note about these couple of episodes. I can't really label any of these episodes as filler. That's actually a big thing, which is actually kind of a good thing, believe it or not. But with that being said, we're moving on to like kind of a story arc where it's kind of like Gira's big like feud with Raklis, where at the beginning of the episode, the Bugnarok reveals that they have God Scorpion and they want to capture Gira because Gira has the ability to talk with the Shu gods, and they want to use him to use the Shu gods to destroy Terra. There's a meeting between all the kings where Raklis reveals that Gira got kidnapped and disappeared when he was a child. And Raklis actually, kind of in a repeat of what happened in the first episode, he disbands the Alliance of the Kingdoms and like demands that the King-Ohger serve under him. Then there's a big fight with the King-Ohgers, with the Bugnarok forces between the King-Ohgers, where Odd Scorpion goes crazy, and while Gira's piloting it, and Raklis uses that to frame Gira as being an enemy when it attacks King-Ohger. Anybody want to give their thoughts on this episode first? Because I just spent a little while talking. Anybody want to go first? Go ahead, guys. Anybody?
So I assume Patrick was going to go first, but given he's not, I will.
You have it.
No,
you go.
Okay. Yeah, so this episode, like Nate said, begins a new story arc in King-Ohger. And I don't know, this episode wasn't anything spectacular on its own, except that it solidly contributes to the story of what's going to come in the next couple episodes. I don't think there's anything that I disliked, and I honestly think this is just very standard fare story building stuff that needed to happen so we can get the rest of the plot going. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of right now. Is I'm just one thing I do want to echo from Nate is that yeah, there's no filler in any of the episodes we're covering from here to the end of this particular podcast, and that to me is fantastic. It's more than okay that we're not, because dear God, it's nice to have a Sentai that's not all, oh hey, here's a random kid. Let's see what hijinks our Sentai team can get into with these kids. Looking at you, Zero Ranger.
Is this going to be the new running gag where you just take jabs at G-Ranger?
No, because Zon is still the worst thing to exist.
There it is.
And Geki Ranger is still the bottom of the barrel garbage.
I mean, Nate.
And that's never going to change.
I mean, Nate, you set him up for that. You have no one to blame but yourself.
I'm going to go cry myself to sleep now.
Wait, why are you going to cry yourself to sleep? I'm just speaking the truth about Zon and Geki Ranger. You should be rejoicing that I am willing to scream from the top of every tower the good word of how bad Zon really is.
Oh, great. Now he's getting an ego about it.
Anybody else want to go?
Oh, boy.
I said I was sorry. Let me stop.
No, you're not.
I
want my time back from watching 40+ episodes of garbage.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I can't take that back. I'm sorry. Okay, Jesus.
So because of that, I have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
It's called post-traumatic stress disorder.
Alright. So yeah, back on
King-Ohger,
here.
The good stuff.
It's nothing too interesting here, but it's just set up. Nothing more to it than that. Good setup, but set up.
Anthony?
I like it. I'm loving it. Like I said, the story just gets better and better every day.
Yeah, it really does. And also, obligatory ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna give this one a 7. Not bad, but nothing special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with a 7 here as well. It's a good foundation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing to
write
home about.
7, The Wrath of God. This picks up from where the previous episode left off, where there's a bunch of things going on in this episode. The big thing being that with the shoe gods are damaged, and Yanma and Himeno are working to fix it. They both kind of they take different approaches though, because you might recall Yanma and the Inkosupa people are more like, they're tech savvy and all that, so they're trying to fix the shoe gods with, like, from a technological standpoint, while Himeno which is more like healing and like medical based, tries to use those types of means like medicine to heal the shoe god. Uh, it was subtly hinted these last couple of episodes that Himeno had an obsession with getting the god Scorpion, and we find out why in this episode. It's revealed that in a flashback that Himeno lost her parents when she was a child. This mysterious assassin came and injected them with some lethal venom during an attack, and she discovered traces of a scorpion venom in the toxin that killed them. So she's now trying to find God Scorpion so that she can find a cure to prevent her parents' death fate from not happening to anybody else. And then in the middle of the fight, she finds God Scorpion, who's been kind of going on a bit of a rampage these last couple of episodes, and she finds out that it just wants to find its friends, the other shoe gods. The other one was like a Kabuto, like a beetle-based one, and it wants to find the other big shoe gods. And it doesn't like to be controlled by humans, so she gains its trust, and God Scorpion joins with King-Ohger. And then the episode ends with Yama and Himeno. They agree not to turn Gira in, because Gira throughout this episode has been running away. They subtly acknowledge that Gira is their friend, and then unfortunately at the end of the episode, Gira returns to Shugodam, where it's revealed that his friends have been taken hostage, and Rackless is challenging him to a duel. Dun dun dun. So, what do we all think about this episode? Anybody want to go first?
The one thing I like about this is we kind of start seeing it build throughout these string of episodes, but the unity between the kingdoms is starting to strengthen a little bit, because it kind of hinted it earlier in this show that the kingdoms were almost competing with one another. So having the kingdoms show signs that they want to, be more respectful and unify it's nice, especially when the kings are being a little bit petty towards one another, like in this episode.
Yeah, I think the whole the culture clash between Kosopa and Ishabana is the big thing that made this episode. I really hope that they do that more often in the show, because that would be because I mean, it's done in a simple way, because this is a kid's show after all, but I still think it's done pretty good enough with the sophistication that this show can provide.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Riz, you want to say anything?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say something. So yeah, I have to agree with Pat. It was really nice seeing the beginnings of the unity across the kingdoms, because one question I don't think I've really expressed in the last two podcasts we did on King-Ohger is, so we have, these 5 kings, soon to be 6 at some point. Plus you got Reckless. So there's a lot of kings in this Sentai. And the question I was gonna raise at some point is, who is the king of kings? Because I think it would make sense that at some point down the line, the kings would kind of, consolidate into one hierarchy, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying it's gonna definitely happen, but it is nice to see these different kingdoms that are so different collaborating together, especially given up until it really mattered. The two kingdoms were not really working together. They're trying to compete. But when stuff started hitting the fan, him and those people started to collaborate and share the medicine in exchange for the technology to try and make the sea gods get online a lot quicker. And I thought that was pretty awesome to see them kind of collaborating together and putting their different skills into the same basket.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What do we think about Ximena'S backstory, though? Like, I mean, because not many of us. I know Patrick really liked Ximeno in the last podcast, but yeah, well, okay, some of us weren't
I
as
did
big
too.
fans of Ximena'S. So, like, what do we think of Ximeno now as a character?
Yeah, I know.
Me
Okay, then Anthony, how about you go first?
being
What do
the
you think of his
biggest one.
backstory, since you weren't really her biggest fan at first?
So I want to apologize to Himeno because I was wrong about her, honestly. I really was. And I'm more than man up to admit it. Like, you know what? Yeah, I can admit I'm wrong. Like, it was just so sad and tragic that happened to her. The only thing I think I said when we tried to record this last time was the fact that it just didn't make much sense as to like how this dude was able to like get past everybody to get to them, and nobody was able to stop it. You know, I think we already explained like what the possibilities of it just could have happened because like the intruder could have just bypassed everybody else or was just able to stealthily do it without nobody noticing, or that because of the chaos that happened during the time of the attack and then being all injured and whatnot, it could have just been like, well, hey, I took my chance and hey, everybody was looking, bam, I got him.
I want to know if this character is going to be referenced again.
The assassin?
Oh, gotta be.
Like, yeah, like, we don't know who this is. Are they going to revisit this character? Is he going to be somebody we meet later down in the line of the season? Or is this just going to be some unnamed
I hope
murderer?
It gets brought up later. Maybe he turns out to be working for the Bugnarok.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do something with him also, because there's got to be a reason why he was sent to kill her parents in the first place, right? So
I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. And Riz had to step away, but he also gives an 8 out of 10. So, want to say anything else, guys? All right, cool. We can move on to episode 8, the dueling trial of King and Prince. So this is basically the big episode where Rackless and Kira have their big what is called trial by combat. They're basically King battles against the prisoner, which in this case is Gira, and whoever wins gets to basically make any demand of the loser. There's a point where Rita offers to investigate Gira's kidnapping, and later on we find out that we don't see in a flashback, but this is something that Gira basically kind of concludes that that Rackless pretty much set up Gira to be kidnapped because, Rackless being Rackless really wanted to get all the power for himself, so he basically cooked up to have Gira kidnapped so that he would have no one to challenge him. Rackless has his own caliber, which we kind of already saw when he was controlling like a black and gold version of King-Ohger, but here he uses that caliber for the first time to transform into Kuwagata-Ohger, which is basically the same thing as Kuwagata-Ohger, except it's painted gray instead of red. They get this big fight. There's during the fight, there's this one Bugnarok that gets into the middle of it, posing as Yanma, that makes Gira look a little sympathetic toward the Bugnarok, which only further makes him look like an enemy to the people of Shugodom. And Rackless defeats Gira. He's sent flying off the edge of a cliff, but he survives when Himeno treats his wounds and everything. And the episode ends with Shoe Godam being attacked by the Bugnarok monster, but then the third and final guardian shoe god, Godhopper, who's based on a grasshopper, shows up and scares off the monster. I have a big thing to say about this episode. I have a lot of opinions. It's a really good episode, but I'm going to let the other guys give their opinions first. Patrick or anybody else want to go first? Go ahead.
I don't remember exactly how I worded this in our last or first recording, but Rackless is becoming one of the best you love to hate him characters I've ever seen, especially in Super Sentai. So this guy is a walking piece of crap, to put it very lightly.
He's definitely very sinister, but he's also one of those God, I just want to punch him in the face kind of guys, you know?
Oh yeah, they're definitely setting it up to. It's a good way to keep people watching because you set him up to be such an irredeemable piece of garbage. So you keep watching for the inevitable moment where he gets hit by an 18-wheeler. We all celebrate.
Yeah. Truck-kun, where are you? We need you now.
Yeah, Optimus.
But see, we're going to talk about this later, I think. But see, if Rackless gets hit by an 18-wheeler now, then our villain story
And that's
will be
kind of
extremely
what I
boring
wanted to go
going
off
forward.
with what Liz is saying. That like,
but that's why
when I was watching this episode, it kind of just hit me now that like this show is doing fine with just Rackless as the main villain to the point where what are the Bugnarok even doing here? Honestly, like.
I mean, it just feels like they're another faction in this entire thing, but they don't have any stake yet, you know?
Nah. They're just the rubber suited monsters they gotta fight.
And
it's
I really
they gotta
feel
meet.
like the head writer
Yeah.
here really wants just Rackless to be the main villain. The head writer, Minato Kano, he's actually kind of an outside guy when it comes to Super Sentai. Like unlike every other head writer for Super Sentai that I know, he never did any Sentai work before he did work on this Sentai. Like he worked exclusively on Kamen Rider. Now, thankfully, he worked under a guy who's like he was basically mentored by a head writer who was responsible for a lot of really good Kamen Rider shows. Like he did a couple of like his mentor Yuya Takahashi. He did a couple of episodes of Drive, which was great. He was the head writer of X-Aid, which I hear X-Aid is really good. And he wrote a lot of episodes for 01. I don't know how people feel about that one, but and he.
It's
like geeks.
01 is kind of like a mixed bag. I'll be honest with you. People want to say that COVID is the reason why it kind of fell off after a while, but I mean, I don't know. Geeks is amazing. Oh, Geeks is freaking amazing. We need to watch that eventually. Because y'all would love it.
Has been trained, like, he's a young guy, too. Like, he's just a year older than me. So, he'll be 30 this year. Like, he clearly is from a Kamen Rider background. And I just feel like, with how Rackless is as a main villain, he really wants Rackless to be the main villain. But, like, Toei is, like, breathing down his neck. Like, no, this is Super Sentai. So, we have to have, like, these, faceless alien people who are attacking City as the main villains, like the Bugnarok. Because, like, in Kamen Rider, you can get away with not having those villains, but you can't get away with it in Super Sentai, unfortunately.
Well, at least not nowadays. Back in the day, during, like, the earlier seasons, because remember, like, most of Jetman's villains were all, like, not fully. Yeah. They were pretty much like actors wearing like some makeup to make them look more. But it's not. But they're not actually like monster. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, when was the last time Sentai had a main antagonist that actually showed their face?
We
Go
wouldn't
Under?
consider someone like
King-Ohger, I think.
Bosco a main villain, would we?
No, Bosco's a side act.
Yeah, he's a side villain.
But
Zed,
Bosco
maybe Zed
is
from
the other
Toku?
really
He had
good
a
villain
human
that
form.
you'd love to hate on because
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're
I
right.
haven't seen anything
I forgot about him.
after Tokuger, so I don't know.
How do I forget about Tokuger? I don't even know. I don't think there is anything after.
Ninja didn't have any.
Zyuohger didn't have anything.
Ninja didn't have anything. I know
I don't think
Kyuranger
Gear
definitely
Ranger
didn't
didn't.
have any.
No, yeah.
Kyuranger definitely didn't have any.
I don't know Beyond Gear Ranger.
Lupat did not have any whatsoever.
Zenkaiser didn't.
No, Zenkaiser did not. Ryu Soldier didn't have any. I can confirm that.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't think Dawn Brothers did either, from what I've seen of it.
Actually, Dawn Brothers is a very interesting one because they did have antagonists who had human forms. So yeah, you could say that Dawn Brothers did it.
Okay.
I do want to kind of go off that point of the Bugnarok not having a purpose, and I did bring this up when we did this review the first time. I hope, and I feel like it, that Rackless and the Bugnarok are in cahoots. Because when the Bugnarok came out disguised to fool Gira, Rackless didn't seem all that shocked. In fact, he called cameras out like it was a setup.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably a bigger reason why the Bugnarok are
Atlas is
here,
just working
but
with them, then I'll be fine.
who knows when we'll get any confirmation
about the Bugnarok being useless, but until that time comes, I can't really take that back.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, we don't have any confirmation, but there's a lot of big neon sign arrows pointing in that direction right now.
I also know that there's like some like YouTube special where like it's like a prequel to King-Ohger with Rackless being the main character in that. And this takes place before any of the King-Ohgers become King-Ohgers. So maybe that will kind of like give us a clearer idea of what Rackless might have been up to before before the series starts.
Yeah, that's something I've heard about and I haven't gotten a chance to see yet.
It's literally only had like the second. There's only 3 episodes that have been announced. One was in April of this year. This upcoming one just came out literally this month, and there should be another one sometime in a few months.
Yeah. I will say, while I don't really care for the Bugnarok as a villain yet, I will say I got way too much enjoyment out of Gundam from the last episode.
Who's the drill sergeant?
Yeah, left, right. I thought that was pretty clever.
It was.
And it's funny, Ant Riz, his voice was bothering me because Anthony and Riz. I was because you two.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say something about the fact that he was in the army.
Yeah, he's an ant. No, I was like, his voice sounded really familiar to me. I don't know if it sounded familiar to either of you two.
Let's see what the Ranger Wiki says.
Because I think I didn't look this up because I didn't have a chance to, but I think that's Tactimon's voice actor.
It might have been.
Because when he was screaming, I'm like, I've heard this scream from when Omega Shoutman was punching somebody in the face.
I am looking this up now because I'm on the Ranger Wiki anyway. So,
but
let's see.
Oh, he's doing that.
Yeah, dude, you're
Scores?
right.
It
Oh
is
my
him?
God.
You're right.
Yeah, I knew his voice
He
sounded familiar to
was
me somewhere.
Actimon, Omegamon, Starmon, and ZZmon in Crosswords.
Aha, see,
Wow.
I knew that scream sounded familiar somewhere.
Good call.
I just love that you recognized it.
I've watched that fight between Omega Shaman and Tactimon that many times. Tactimon's voice is ingrained in my head.
I can't stop seeing it that many times.
Go back to this one. I'm gonna give this one, like, aside from glaring issue with the Bugnarok, and the only other problem I'll say that I have is that I think that the big moment where Rackless transforms into Ohsama, like, I don't know. I don't like how people acted as if it's like just a thing that they knew happened. Like, he has his own caliber when Gira stole it. Like, I'm wondering how people wonders how that works. They're acting as if it's not a big deal. I
know it is weird that Gira stole the one he had. Where did this one come from?
Well, that's why I'm kind of curious on what is the origin of these weapons, you know? Like, are these things that were made by Rackless and his group, and he distributed to the other kingdoms as a way to connect to the Sea Gods? Because maybe prior to this, the Sea Gods were more spiritual. There's a Sentai that did this too, I think. I forget which one. But some Sentai has done this before, where they make a set of armament type things, and they just kind of create another one for the villain to kind of hold over them.
Well, that also leads to another question that I've had about this season that hasn't really been addressed yet. Is this another legacy or lineage Sentai where there have been previous wielders of those swords that have been King-Ohgers before?
From like 2000,
There
I think
has
it was
to have
2,000 years ago. So there would have had to have been King-Ohgers before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, the point I was trying to say earlier, I don't think I did a good job explaining it though, is you have this ancient power that people before used. Oh, you know who it was? Sinkinzer.
Yeah.
Sinkinzer had those powers for generations, but it wasn't until the Sinkinzer season that we saw, that team, that they actually had a Power Ranger
It's kind of like
form.
in a... Okay,
because prior to that, they were just
this
samurai.
Because I don't want to upset Riz, but I have to. Wild Force, where, like, remember there was a fight between the orgs like 1,000 years ago, I think, and like we're constantly shown flashbacks of Rangers' predecessors, but those were just warriors. Like in those flashbacks, we never see them morph into Power Rangers. They just fight with some of the weapons that the Rangers use, and then in our current generation, they're Power Rangers.
Yeah. And see, that's a typical thing that we're seeing with some of these warrior people. Even Ninja Storm did this, where they had, they had the Wind Ninjas and the Thunder Rangers or whatever, but they weren't Power Rangers until Cam made
similar to
the Wind
Jungle
powers,
Fury,
and I don't
too?
know where the Thunder powers came from, but I don't.
Like they were just
Yeah,
warriors
because
who
that's the
fought
exact
in
same thing
martial
happened in
arts,
Jungle Fury.
and then one day RJ just said, "Hey, Power Rangers are cool. Maybe I'll give our people the ability to morph into Power Rangers," and then he just called some.
Yeah, it's something I think was kind of present in Geki Ranger, except they didn't do a good job of
just set
like
up Riz to do that again. I need to
doing
stop
Geki Ranger.
Nonsense. Anyway, I'm gonna.
It's our thing now. You make a comment about Geki or something
I'm gonna
that
give
will
this.
remind me of
Aside from
Geki,
that issue, though,
and
thought
I
that
just
this
go
episode
off.
was
It's great.
I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna echo your 9 out of 10.
Okay, cool. That moves us
Ditto.
on to the next
definitely get a 9 out of 10 as
episode,
well.
which picks up from where it left off. So, Kira is now presumed dead, even though he's been healed by the King-Ohgers, and he's told to stay in this hiding place. And the other 4 King-Ohgers, they agree to work together to just have Gira with them so that they can use the shoe gods. But then when they all leave, it's revealed that each of them has their own plan to keep Gira for themselves because they want King-Ohger for their own kingdoms. Most of the episode after that is just the so Ragnarok launches a full-scale attack on pretty much all the kingdoms. So while the King-Ohgers are out fighting, we get all of the assistant characters. So we have Yama's assistant, Shiokara, Ximena'S butler, Sebastian, and Kuroda, who's Kaguraki's Kuroki. That's what I'm just going to call him since he looks exactly like the Kuroki from Shinkenger. They're all attempting to kidnap Gira, and they're going from kingdom to kingdom. And Gira gets taken to Rita's kingdom, Gokon, by her assistant Morphonia. And then, unfortunately, while Gira is battling the Ragnarok, he finds Godhopper. That's the shoe god Grasshopper, one that we got introduced 2 episodes ago. He gets confronted by Desnarak the Seventh, who is the leader of the Ragnarok. We met him in a couple of episodes ago. And it's revealed that the King-Ohgers have all been defeated, defending their kingdoms, and they're all knocked unconscious. And Desnarak unleashes these cocoons that he's placed under their kingdom. And he also kidnaps Gira as he prepares to put his full plan to destroy Shikyu into effect. Shikyu's the name of the world that they live on. Now, this episode is pretty good. It's got a pretty suspenseful plot. I mean, not much happens aside from just establishing the plan, but I will say I like how the King-Ohgers are all having self-serving plans in this episode, and they're not just one-dimensional good guys, because you don't have to do that in Super Sentai anymore, and I'm glad that they're not trying to do that. Anybody else, though?
Yeah. It's nice to show that this Sentai can manage to weave in some comedic moments when they get the chance, because there's going to be another episode that we look at later that's going to do that exact thing, where it's just it knows when to be funny, and that's good. It's not a Sentai that's just fully funny. It's a serious show that can get some laughs out of you when need be.
Yeah, I feel that because it was just a very funny episode, and I'm glad that even something that you would think that would be filler is still considered a part of the story.
Yeah, because this did feel like a filler episode, but it really wasn't.
It felt like filler, but it had no true filler. It was all
and I like
stuff to advance the story.
There's really not much else that I could complain about with this episode. But it, like you guys said, it does feel like filler, which is why I'm not going to give it a 9.
Well,
it was still pretty good. I was entertained. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give this one an 8.
I'm 7ing it.
I'm gonna 8 it.
You ate it? I'm 8 it too.
Well, okay, so Patrick made a number into a verb.
Yes.
I had to follow suit.
Are you impressed?
Okay, so that leads us to episode 10.
No, I've done worse.
Legendary Shoe Gods.
Yeah, I can believe it.
To kind of sum up this, a lot happens in this episode, quite a bit. But to kind of sum it up the best, Hiro has been captured by the Ragnarok. They want him to control the Shoe Gods to destroy Terra. And the cocoons are threatening to unleash a bunch of giant Ragnarok and basically destroy all of the kingdoms. King-Ohgers want to evacuate their kingdoms because the only way that they could possibly defeat them is if they combine all of the Shu gods together to form a new form of King-Ohger, but they don't think that they can do that. But then they all get encouraged by their assistants to save Gira and just create a miracle. They do that. They arrive to save Gira from Desnarak the Seventh. They defeat him in a brutal fight. And then when the cocoons hatch, they all pretty much declare that Gira is a king in their own way. And you can safely say that this is finally the episode where they all vow to fight together to save their kingdom. So this is basically the big moment where they all come together as a team. Where we can officially say they are Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger. And they combine King-Ohger with God Kabuto, God Scorpion, and God Hopper. Those are the three greater Shu gods, and they form Legend King-Ohger. They use that to destroy the five giant Bugnarok, and then the episode ends with there being an epilogue where Rakwas is taking credit for the victory, and they just accept it. Gira disappears. Then it's revealed that Desnarak has actually survived the battle and is preparing for another plan. I don't know. This is not going to be something that gets answered in the next few episodes, but Desnarak the Seventh is going to get destroyed quite a few times here, and wish there was an explanation for that, but hopefully we'll find out soon. I really like this episode. This is the 10th episode, and we're fine. And they took their time bringing this team together, to be officially the team instead of just having it be I don't know. I liked how Kyoryuger did it, but Kyoryuger still I think it's the 4th episode where they all become one. This series takes its time, and I can really respect them for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because they all felt like independent people up to this point that just happened to have a similar power set. And they definitely worked into this, and it worked great. It felt very old school Sentai, Jetman, where it took them about 10, 15 or something to finally come together as a proper team. But I'm trying to remember how I worded this in our first recording. But you remember how much of a stink I made about base King-Ohger being in the first episode? This kind of mitigates that a little bit, because this Legend King-Ohger feels like their actual main mecha. And this feels like the actual proper mech debut, personally, because it was at the end of a long story arc, and that was kind of their reward. They finally become a proper team, and they're rewarded with a stronger version of their base mech. So it's the episode was very light on plot, but it was because it was the finale to what we had just watched.
I mean,
so it worked, and it was a good payoff.
Started the little hissy fit about them debuting King-Ohger in the first episode too. So.
I mean, I'm
so glad y'all came around.
Yeah.
I mean, when we get to Gingaman, you'll see why I have such high. I have such a disdain for introducing the mecha so lazily in the first episode like that.
Well,
it is.
I think part of the thing here, you kind of hit on it a little bit, Pat, but I do want to drive this point home. The mech formation prior to Legendary King-Ohger, that felt more like the Gira mech, it was only for him. So I never really cared as much as you guys did about it, because I figured logically at some point all five of these guys are going to get together and do something with their mech.
As being
and lo and behold,
we
it's
see
10 episodes
to use Georanger as an
here.
example, because we have issues with Georanger, but I think we all agree that they handled their mech debuts pretty good. King-Ohger is to Gira what just the Tyrannosaurus was to Geki. And like Legend King-Ohger is like Daijujin, basically.
I mean, if I had written it this way, this would have been when base King-Ohger would have debuted. Because they could have just piloted the other, the other Shoe Gods individually, while that looming threat of, the giant cocoons are going to hatch. But it's like, well, them individually isn't going to do anything. But, at least they did something to make this feel earned.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. I feel like it was a really good conclusion to like this big story arc. I'm actually going to give this one a 10 out of 10. Like, I really can't think of anything wrong with it. I feel like it's properly, built up to, especially with like the motivation that they get on how to come together because they all ultimately care about their people. Like, there's nothing wrong with this episode, honestly.
Nope.
There really isn't. I mean, it's just one super good episode. Like everything in the past 10 episodes leads up to this moment, and like y'all said, it's done really well. So I'm very inclined to give this a 10 as well. Which is a very big rarity for me to give because I don't ever give 10s.
I still think with it being a little bit too light on plot, kind of doesn't make it a 10 for me. I'd probably give it a 9.
I mean,
it doesn't
when you
need
say
it.
light on plot, though, it doesn't.
It doesn't need it, but at the same time, this episode felt like it was just one big fight scene, which, sure, but
Yeah, no, I get it.
Anthony, what do you give it, Anthony?
I will judge you silently for your not agreeing with us that it's a 10 out of 10.
I don't care.
Right, so
I'm definitely gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
I'm going to judge you as well.
I gave it a 10.
Wait, what did we give it? What did we all give it last time when we did this?
I don't remember.
Across the board.
Oh, I bet it's a 10 for me too. I don't know
The
why
last time
I'm
that
not
I gave
changing
it,
it.
a 10
I'm standing firm.
So, Patrick's opinion changes with time.
Yes.
But in my
Yeah, I remember that.
Really good episode.
Understandable.
I remember not giving that a 10 out of 10 because I didn't think it was
Right,
there, but
so,
I remember giving like a 9.5.
Now, I'm going to talk about these next two episodes back to back.
It was,
because they're
but,
kind of,
they
both kind of cover a big story arc. We are getting the debut of our 6th Ranger here, and we're going to have a lot to talk about this. So, start off with episode 11, Strange, the Man in the Spider Mask, where, at the beginning of this episode, while the Bugnarok are making their plan, we meet this man in a white cloak. He's wearing a spider mask. He figures out, their plan. They want to fulfill this prophecy where they want to capture those 3 shoe gods to use against the King-Ohgers. Meanwhile, there's this big plan for the King-Ohgers to try to undermine Rackless. They're going to be holding a funeral for Gira, and Gira is going to revive. I'm putting air quotes around revive since he's not dead, but they think he's dead. He's going to summon Legend King-Ohger and kind of make himself look better in front of the people so that Rackless looks bad. Then, unfortunately, when the funeral is staged, the coffin is stuck closed by some adhesive material that resembles spiderweb. And that white-cloaked man shows up, and, he's questioning, like, why do you have to fight the Bugnarok and everything? And he steals Gira's coffin and asks him the same thing, asking, like, why they think the Bugnarok are evil. Then the Bugnarok monster shows up, and Desnarak reveals himself, and there's a big thing with like a Legend King-Ohger where it was infested with a bunch of parasites in the previous fight, and he tries to hatch this cocoon that was made from the pardon me, from the parasites, but then nothing happens. The White Cloak Man appears, and he now has the three shoe gods, which he uses to transform into a key that he unlocks his mask with to reveal a human face. He introduces him. His mask transforms into his own king caliber. He introduces himself as Jeremy Rasiri, and this is something that Anthony pointed out. This is actually going to be really funny considering what we find out about this character. The actor who plays him, his name is Masahi Ikeda. He is actually the narrator for King-Ohger. He narrates over the opening, for the opening theme, and gives the recap, which that's kind of interesting given what we find out about his character in the next episode. That moves us to the next episode, the Sixth King, where Jeremy says that he's the king who rules over everything, and he's basically written all these prophecies that with the Bugnarok and everything, he apparently he's been the mastermind behind almost everything that's happened, and he claims that he's like 2,000 years old, and King-Ohgers try to figure out what he's all about. They think that he's lying, but then Rita discovers that he has actually been spotted over many years, and this confirms that he is 2,000 years old. They still don't know what he's about until Jeremy reveals that in the original conflict between the kings and the Bugnarok 2,000 years ago, there was a sixth hero who fell in love with a Bugnarok, and because of that, he was exiled, and he and the Bugnarok fled away, and they gave birth to a child who is him. He is basically an abomination that's neither human nor Bugnarok, and he wants to unite everyone in the conflict between the Bugnarok and humans, which causes the King-Ohgers to have a change of heart about him. And then at the end, Desnarok arrives to confront Jeremy, and Jeremy uses his King Caliber to transform himself. He transforms into a white King-Ohger called Spider Kumonos. Kumonos translates to spider web, according to that's what my wife said. And he fights off Desnarok. So a lot happened. I just spent a while talking. So and I know based on what we said in the previous recording that we all love this Sixth Ranger debut. So anybody want to go start talking about how much we love it? Anybody want to go first? Go right ahead, guys.
Yeah, like we said before this, there hasn't been any filler episodes in the season up to this point. And from the very beginning, we haven't really talked about this aspect of the show, but there's been this prophecy that both sides, the King-Ohgers and the Bugnarok, have been talking about and everything since episode 1. And I was wondering, was that going to play into the end game or anything? But no, literally since the first episode, they've been setting up this guy's debut because the prophecy was to free him from that mask he was wearing. And then we found out that he's the narrator at the end of the first episode of this two-parter. He basically said that we thought that the intro to the theme song was about Gira, but no, he was actually talking about himself this whole time. Yes. Which is, I wasn't ready for that.
He's like, it's me, Austin!
Yeah. So yeah, he shows up and he's, part human, part Bugnarok, and he's basically playing a mediator. He's not good or evil. He's like a third party, which is an interesting dynamic to take the Sixth Ranger, because the Sixth Rangers have always been played up as the wild card, like the trump card for the team. Yeah. Like they come in and they add an extra element that the team needs, but that's not what this guy does. I don't even know if you can really call him a King-Ohger at this point.
He
So
calls himself a king, though, doesn't he?
he does, but he's not really a part of them.
No, but
calls-
he's king of the world or something, right?
Yeah, he's king of everything, as he claims himself to
Yeah.
be. So, yeah, like, his personality, like, the build-up to him, like, dude, this is, like, SSS plus tier Sixth Ranger introduction stuff.
Oh yeah.
And for those that don't understand
before
Patrick's
this,
word, this is the best
as much as I
Ranger
like
intro
Boken Silver,
ever
my favorite Six
across
Ranger introduction
Ranger
arc
and
still,
Sentai.
up until now, I mean, and it's funny because we literally just finished reviewing that on the podcast, was Dragon Ranger's arc. So, like, nothing could top it now, but this not only tops Dragon Ranger's debut arc, but it's like in a league of its own. Like, we're talking like Dragon Ranger's debut arc is like a B tier, maybe. This is an S tier. Like, it is leagues above Dragon Ranger's intro arc. Yeah.
Yeah, like, my favorite Sixth Ranger introduction arc between both shows before this was Titanium Ranger. I really love Ryan's introduction arc in Lightspeed Rescue, but dude, that doesn't hold a candle to this.
No.
No,
So,
not even close. Like, I don't know. I just find Jeremy very interesting because, like it's mentioned in the story, he walks the line between the two factions that are at war, effectively creating a third faction of, I don't want the Bugnarks to die, I don't want the humans to die, I want everyone to live in harmony, which is very different from what the Bugnarks want. They want to kill all the humans, and the humans are like, well, screw you guys, we want to kill you back because we don't want to die.
Yeah,
So it's interesting to have a third faction kind of appear.
And how he reacts to everything going forward is going to be interesting. Is he going to do everything in his power to actually unify the two sides, or are the Bugnarok going to be so stubborn that he ends up getting sick of them and wants to get rid of them because they're being idiots?
I don't know. I don't think that's going to be a thing where he succeeds in unifying, but he's going to definitely give it his all.
Yeah, but I can already say this. I can already say this
Daijin
because
Ryu, I mean,
there's another season that had a wild card third party in it, and it was Daijin Ryu and Dai Ranger, and I already likes this guy more than that thing.
I also like how,
that thing came out of nowhere and told people to jump off buildings, and everybody's like, what the heck is going on?
And, hating the background that he has. Like, I like how he's trying to make the best of both worlds, I guess you could say, because I don't know, like, as much as I like Boken Silver, and you guys know that Boken Silver is my favorite Sixth Ranger. Like, I mean, he has a similar hybrid background. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I feel like the way that they go with his story in that, it's good, but it's a little predictable. This one, they go a completely different route, and I honestly really dig it. Like, I like the route that they're going with him. What about you, Anthony? What do you think of this? You've been kind of quiet here. What do you want to say?
oh yeah, he's fantastic. I have no complaints whatsoever. I just love the fact that I think he's the best of both worlds, if that, because technically he kind of is, because, with how his family is. And
Want to say anything else, Riz or Patrick?
it's just very interesting. We don't really get characters like this nowadays,
Yeah, I was going to comment a little bit more about the facts and stuff I was saying earlier, because
Yep.
Yeah.
while we were talking, I kind of thought about it some more, and there's really, truthfully, 4 factions at play here. So we have the King-Ohgers that are,
Mhm.
they want to fight the Ragnarok and destroy
They're
them
the
and
evil for
save
evil's
the
sake
world
people.
and protect your 5 kingdoms. You get the Ragnarok as a second faction who want to destroy all of humanity for whatever nefarious thing that we don't really understand yet. Exactly. Then we have Jeremy, who walks that fine line that we talked about earlier, where he wants to unify everyone under one kingdom, his kingdom, and want to be the king of everything. But then we have Reckless, who is not a part of any of the 3 before mentioned teams.
That we know of.
Yeah, not yet anyway, but he technically is a King-Ohger by the fact that he has, his own armament that can give him the power of a King-Ohger. But he's never called a King-Ohger. But he also is a much better villain than the villains, and so my hope is, going forward, Reckless kind of absorbs himself into the Bugnaroks and takes over from Desnarak, because, let's face it, Desnarak's kind of boring.
Yes.
So I would hope for that. And it's interesting that I say it like this, because we all know, just walking into this, from this point on, while Jeremy is going to walk that line between Bugnarok and King-Ohger, end of the day, this is still a Super Sentai. And at the end of the day, at some point, he will become a full 6 Ranger that fights alongside the King-Ohger and do his thing to help them. It's gonna happen at some point. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but at some point it's gonna happen. And when that does happen, we go down from 4 factions to 3, and if Reckless takes over the Bugnarok somehow, then 3 becomes 2. But I just like the idea that dynamic that I'm talking about here of, like, these 2 characters, Reckless and Jeremy, they're different from each other, but
Or,
I feel like
maybe
they're gonna
with how
find a way to
creative this
integrate
writer
into
is,
the main 2
maybe
factions
it
that
won't
everyone
be
cares
until
about.
maybe the final stretch of episodes where Jeremy
It's a bit
joins the
symmetrical to me.
King-Ohgers. Because there's been. Well, yeah, but then that means that for like the majority of a series, he's doing his own freelance stuff, and I think that's fine.
I'm not expecting Jeremy until the finale. It is, because it doesn't really detract from the plot. I think letting him have free reign to do what he wants, how he wants, is fine. I think when we hit the end game arc, that's when we're going to start seeing this entire Jeremy joining the King-Ohger stuff that I'm talking about.
Anything else we want to say about?
But I'm just hoping that
just
Reckless
Jeremy
takes over to
as a
Bugnarok
character?
like episode 13 or
Yes.
something.
Okay. Okay, then we can move on to this. So this will be the last big thing before we just kind of go into the review segment. Here's something that
I think we
I
covered
briefly
it pretty
mentioned
well.
this color, but here's something that's pretty cool, guys. We do not have, for the first time in quite a while, we have a 6th Ranger that is not gold or silver. He is a white 6th Ranger. This is the first time we've had a white 6th Ranger since Deca Break, the Omega Ranger. That was back in 2004. What do we think of Spider Kumonos' suit? Like, what do you guys think? Yeah.
It's the white symbiote.
Yeah, it's just his helmet is literally Venom's symbol inverted, and I like that.
Yeah, me too.
It's weird how he doesn't have a cape though, but It doesn't bother me too much.
He doesn't quite need it, though.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, maybe
if he's going to be
he'll
doing
go-
Spider-Man swinging stuff, a cape will just get in the way.
Oh yeah. Also, looking at the fact that he's a spider suit,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of
Or at
wish
least
they
name him
named him
Eddie,
Peter
like
instead
Eddie
of
Brock.
Jeremy.
That would have been way too on the nose, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it'd been perfect, wouldn't it?
It would have been perfect, yeah. Or
Or
Eddie.
Miles. Miles would have been acceptable. I don't think they would go with Eddie. I just don't think that would fit in a Japanese TV show. But then Jeremy, I don't think fits either. But
Well, I mean, it would also fit
Anthony,
too
what do you
because
think about
Venom was a bit of a
Spider-Kimono's
wild
shirt?
card
I mean,
for
suit.
most of his comic existence anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So it would have been thematic.
So would I.
His shirt.
Hey, I would
So
take
would
a
I.
Spider Kimono shirt.
I mean, it's cool, but he's got a polo. I don't like polos.
No, I would
But
totally
Anthony,
get
you wanna
a
give your thoughts on
polo
the
for
suit?
work with the Spider
Yeah,
Kimono
give
symbol.
me
and
give me
thing.
his visor design as
Anthony,
just
you're
a
muted
shirt print. Yes.
Yeah,
You're muted
Yes.
right now, Anthony.
make it happen.
Still muted.
Okay. I mean, I'm just
I
overjoyed that we
don't
finally
think
get
Anthony
a Sixth Ranger
is
that's not gold or
all
silver.
there. I think he's having
'cause,
technical
I mean,
difficulties, so we can move on.
if we're gonna look at these Sixth Rangers, like, okay, so technically the last Sixth Ranger to not be gold or silver was the Ho-Oh soldier from Q Ranger, but even then, like that, like is like that has so many Sentais that has so many Sentai Rangers that it doesn't really matter. But then like we have Juo the World, who's like he has silver on his suit, so it's kind of weird. So technically, the last non-gold or silver Sixth Ranger was Tokyo Rokugo, way back like 10 years ago. So yeah, I'm just overjoyed because I remember when I saw Kawagata Oger's suit and they were hyping him up as being the Sixth Ranger, and I'm just happy because I love gold and silver, but those colors are really starting to wear thin as Sixth Ranger colors. And I can't be the only one who thinks that.
Mm-hmm.
No, we need more different variation on colors. I definitely agree with you. Like, up until now, I don't think we've had an orange
But it just feels
Sixth
like
Ranger,
ever
or even
since
orange suit.
Maji Ranger,
We have?
where we
Yeah,
had
Toku.
Oh,
Maji
you know what?
Shine,
You're right,
who
Tokyo.
was, so Maji
Like
Shine
I said earlier, I forget
is
Tokyo
gold.
happens sometimes.
Then we have Boken Silver, Go on Gold, Go on Silver, Shinken Gold, Gosei Knight, who is silver, Gokai Silver. Then we have the Beaten Stag Busters, who are gold and silver. We have Kyoryu Gold. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We got Tokyo Rokugo, orange. That's cool. Okay, finally something new. Star Ninja, gold. Like Juo the World and Hoa Soja, okay, whatever. But then, like, these last couple of Sentais, like, we have that one from Lupin and Pat, who he's two different colors, but it's gold and silver. We have Ryuso Gold, Kirame Silver,
Yeah.
Two Kaiser, who is considered gold, and then I guess the Don Brothers guy has a gold and silver. I don't know. I'm just going off the Ranger wiki right here. So I don't know, but it's just a breath
He's
of
gold.
fresh air to not have a gold or silver one again. Anything else though, guys? I mean, go ahead.
Nah.
No, I think I'm good on that. I think at this point we're 12 episodes in. We haven't had a true filler yet. And that to me is just fantastic that we can blend together 12 episodes, some of which, on a standalone level, they could be filler, but even the filler that we have had ties into the story and progresses things to the next episode and brings the story to the next point. There's never just something being done for the sake of doing it. It's all
And I think
intentionally
even if we
planned
do
out
get some
and
filler episodes,
well written.
eventually, I don't know.
And I
feel
think
like this
that's
Sentai
something to
has been so
commend
good
the
thus
team
far
for
that
on
it's
writing
earned
something that's strong.
the right to have an occasional bad episode. Yeah, I mean,
Yes, but I would not accept it.
we should. I mean, we've
My
just
standards
we've
are too
overall just
high
given our
now.
thoughts on
No,
the
I'm
first
spoiled now. I
4
can't
episodes.
accept
This is a
it.
really
I'm
great story.
spoiled by good writing.
What do we want to do? We don't have to include Jeremy in this since we've only seen him for 2 episodes. But how would we update the rankings of the King-Ohgers now? Anyone can go first. Just go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start off. My ranking has definitely changed from last time. So Himono is definitely top tier now. I believe in the last podcast I had her second. I could be wrong on that though. And then following her, I think Yanma, then Rita, then Garrett and Kaguraki. That would be my ranking. Because to me, Kaguraki, while there's a lot of really good story-driven stuff going on, characters getting explored, Kaguraki to me is just now in the last 2-3 episodes scratching the surface of his character, and that's basically whenever Rocklet starts threatening him. So throughout these episodes, we always see Kaguraki kind of feeding information to Rocklet, and you kind of wonder what side Kaguraki's really on. But then you find out Rocklet has been holding his sister captive or something, and I think there's a lot of stuff that can happen with Kaguraki going forward to make him much stronger. But for right now, with limited information on his character and everything else,
You want to give
he
your
is the
thoughts on
weakest link in my
Spider
opinion
Kimono
of the
Susu real
5.
quick, then, Anthony?
Yeah.
I'm back, by the way. That thing is gorgeous. The white and the gold and the black, it was just oof.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me wish that he was a part of the Spider-Verse, but nah,
Miles
that's
would have been
neither here nor
acceptable
there.
too.
You probably missed my comment earlier, Anthony, that they should have named him not Jeremy but Peter.
Yeah. That would have made more sense.
Patrick, you wanted to give
Miles
your
would have been
updated ranking?
acceptable. We also thought Eddie might have been acceptable, but I definitely would have wanted Peter to be the name of the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
I can see that.
Yeah. Jimeno is still top. I was the only one that had her number 1 in the first episode, and she's not going anywhere. Yanma, I haven't. Yeah, Yanma is number 2. I hated Yanma in the first batch of episodes, but he's loosened up a lot, and I love how he's still stubborn, but he's willing to admit that he cares. I have Gira at 3. I like his character. He just has one quirk that's driving me nuts, and it's his whole dude. Your evil brother that you know is evil is accusing you of being evil. Stop calling yourself an evil king and laughing like a psychopath. You're not doing yourself any favors, homie. Just stop.
Really not.
just look at the people in the eye and say, this dude is crazy. Put your brother on the spot. Make him flinch or something. Just stop being stupid. I have Rita at 4. I like how there's like a softer side to her, but she needs to be more open with that side. I'm already getting sick of her hiding that stern. I mean, being all stern in front of people. And Kaguraki just hasn't had any like development or room to grow yet. But we're bound to get something for him. He's overdue for it.
So before whoever is going next gives their ranking, I do want to ask you something, Patrick, that kind of just hit me about Rita's character, listening to you talk about her.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be really cool if King-Ohger were to kind of make a commentary on Rita having like some mental health thing, like anxiety or
There's been a
like on the
recurring
spectrum
gag
or
in the
something.
show where
Make her
she seems so
a
soft spoken, but
introvert.
then like right out of nowhere she'll be all.
She has a hard time
"Let's go!"
expressing
or
herself
something like
around
that.
other
Like, she'll
people, so she
scream.
does so
It-
with her.
But I
plus
think it's
people actually.
anxiety driven.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
But see, I
Yeah,
think that's
she definitely
anxiety
has-
buildup.
Yeah, she definitely has some kind of social problems. Like she can't. It's either she's has a lot of high anxiety or she's very introverted and she doesn't know how to handle herself around other people.
I think those two can go very hand in hand, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, also
I
the
do want
fact
them
that
to delve into it and maybe help her. Maybe like have the others help her open up more to them.
yeah,
Make her more interesting that way. Because how she is right now, she's very one note, which is weird given how she has a hidden personality from everybody else, but they're still writing her very one note.
yeah, and like there's also that safety net she built for herself with the polar bear stuffed animal thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of really believe that we could see Rita kind of be revealed to have something. And King-Ohger's the kind of season where they could explore topics like anxiety and stuff and make it work, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that whoever is the writer for King-Ohger hears this and they do something with it at some point, though I figure it's already probably written. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see it as being like maybe she was sheltered growing up, and that's the only way she knows how to communicate. Or
I don't know if we talked about it in this radio of the recording, but I do know that you and I have talked about wanting to know more about her kingdom as well.
Because there's no one there. Is it
we
isolated?
don't know her people. Yeah.
I mean, is it isolated, or is there no one living there? If that's the case, that she didn't grow up having a social life, so she doesn't know how to be social.
And that would fit into what I'm talking about with the mental health journey. Is that
exactly?
You know, I think there's a lot of things here to explore, and even if King-Ohger does not really delve into it very much, I think as we learn more about her, the character and about the kingdom, we could just keep doing commentary on this stuff because I think it's very interesting.
Oh yeah, she's a character that really interests the psychology degree in me.
Yeah, same for me. I'm the psychology minor.
As the season goes along, she could easily become the best character in the show. Very easily.
Well, if you remember, the last time we did the ranking, I think me and Nate had her at number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I did too. I think it was my old ranking was Rita, Yanma, then Himeno. But yeah, I think Rita needs to be given more to do so that we can explore this more.
Her and Kaguraki are overdue for some big character moments.
Dude, Kaguraki needs something. I don't even know what else to say, but except that he needs more.
And
Because
the only thing we know about him is that he makes funny faces at people.
Unfortunately, Anthony is dealing with some technical difficulties
can't
again, so I'll
argue
go
with
ahead
you
and
on
give
that.
my updated ranking. I'm gonna put Yanma
You're correct.
at
Yeah.
the top just simply because I like the I don't know, I like Yanma, being that kind of person who has this real like abrasive personality, but he secretly cares. One of the reasons why Joe was one of my favorite Gokaigers. So I'm gonna put him at the top, and then I'm gonna put Ximeno at second. I think Ximeno has the potential to be a better character. It's just for selfish reasons that I put Yanma at the top. Um, I'm still liking Rita, especially with all the stuff that you guys say about anxiety, because I can relate to that. I mean, I deal with anxiety a lot, unfortunately. So I'm actually going to put her at 3. Gira's going to be 4, just because, I mean, he's not great, but he's not leaving as much of an impact on me as the others. And yeah, Kaguraki has just taken a huge nosedive for me. Like, he was number 2 for me last time. He is dead last right now, and hopefully he'll be able to make a comeback. But with how good Jeremy is, I think he's going to stay at dead last for a while. Anthony, you're on now. You want to give your updated ranking? Anthony is back now, guys. Okay.
Is he?
I think okay, so he just gave his ranking in the chat because I think his microphone or something's acting up.
Yeah.
But
He's
his
not even
ranking
that bad of a
is
character.
Yanma for number 1, Rita for number 2, Ximeno number 3, Gira number 4, and Kaguraki number 5. So we're all in agreement that Kaguraki is the weakest so far. And we're all in agreement that
Gira, I don't think
following
is even really that bad. I
Kaguraki,
mean,
Gira
like
is
the funny thing is, I
the
don't think
next,
that
which is interesting to me.
it's
It's really the
there's no
top 3 that
denying
we
that
all
Gira
have different
has
variety
a
on like who
footprint
we
in this
want
story,
there.
but does he have like a footprint that like takes up like the biggest chunk of story? Like, I don't know, Daigo from Kyoryuger? I wouldn't say that. Like,
See, the weird thing about Gira, now that you mention it, is that the story is writing him to be the key central character, but he's not being written like the main character.
Well, I think that's because we're still exploring
Yeah.
my question from earlier of who is the king of the kings, right? Like,
yeah. I'm just hoping that this doesn't turn into a Nick situation where the story makes him the main character, but he is not written like it. Because that was one of the worst aspects of Mystic Force.
yeah, and he needs to get over that. It's like, to bring up Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's
again,
not.
It's like how
but,
J. Jonah Jameson.
Well, he has his
like,
own annoying quirk that I ranted about earlier.
Spider-Man is a menace. And but Spider-Man's reaction would be like, "Okay,
yes,
hey guys,
stop
I'm the
doing that.
Spider-Man, and I'm gonna kill everybody." Like, exactly. Do we want to give any closing thoughts, guys?
Yeah. What if Spider-Man acted like what Jameson accused him of being, while trying to prove him wrong at the same time? Like, you're not helping anything, pal. Yeah.
My closing thoughts will be very simple in that I'll say King-Ohger is definitely breaking into being one of my favorite Sentai, which is a relief because the last couple of Sentai I've gone through have ranged from being god awful, like a certain character which I'm not going to name again, so that Nathan doesn't lose his mind about how much I hate on this one person, to just being super mediocre, like Zero Ranger, with no redeemable anything about it. It's just kind of extremely mid and boring. So it's nice that we're seeing something that's very enjoyable because, man, I'm really loving this ride.
And it's good too because this season is taking a lot of gambles because this is the most un-Sentai like Sentai I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, the thing about King-Ohger that really sticks out to me, you're right, this is the most un-Sentai Sentai, not just story and character-wise, but also the thing that keeps me captivated with King-Ohger is just how aesthetically pleasing every single scene is. Like, if I had just seen clips online, I would never guess that this is going to be a 40-something episode season. I would have guessed it's like a movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
they are just hitting it out of the park, even aesthetically, and that's, to me, just amazing. Like, each kingdom looks so amazing, except maybe Kagaraki, because I don't really know what his kingdom looks like beyond food.
It's a marketplace.
But, like, you know, that just feeds into Kagaraki needs more development so we can see his
Yeah,
kingdom and get more idea
exactly.
about it. But, you know, I think aesthetically, this is the most visually stunning
I would say this is a
Sentai
pretty
I've
big
seen.
visual spectacle.
You know, I mean, I know Nate's
Yeah, and
seen
I'm
more than
looking
I
forward to
have, so
seeing
if
what this
there's something
Sentai
that
has in
even comes
store for the
close to it,
future.
I don't know if there is, but if there is, please let me know.
Anybody else want to say anything? All right.
Okay.
Well, with that said, that pretty much wraps up King-Ohger. We're going to be doing another podcast next
Yeah.
month to take a look at King-Ohger as well. Next time, so the next podcast
Nope,
that
I'm
will
good to
be
go.
posted will be the podcast where we take a look at a G-Ranger. Pretty sure we're going to be taking a look at some G-Ranger filler episodes, unfortunately. So we're going to be returning to some of the bad stuff. Exactly. But with that said, we do have a bit of a happy announcement to make. This weekend
Do
is
you know
Ranger
how
Stop and
little that
Pop
narrows it
here in
down?
my beloved home state of Georgia. I will be attending.
Yeah.
Rich and Anthony are going to be coming to town. We're looking forward to that. So, yep. So yeah, it's been 4 years. Last time we, yeah. So we're definitely
The boys are getting
we're
back
looking forward to that a
together.
lot. We hope anybody here
It's only
in
taken us
Atlanta,
like what,
going
4
to
or
Ranger
5
Stop and
years to
Pop,
do
just
it.
hit us up. We're going to be getting
4
some
years.
interviews with some of the people. We look
Yeah.
forward to that.
No, I'm
With
excited.
that said, we thank you guys so much for taking the time to take a look at our podcast, whether you listen to us on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes. We love all you guys. Without you guys, we would not be able to do this. If you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave any comments down below with your thoughts. Like I did at the beginning of this podcast, I will give shout out. We'll read comments. Just to give people's feedback. With that said, check Anime Secrets out, on their social media pages. And we will see you guys next time when we, hit up Ranger Stop and Pop and when we do our G-Ranger reviews. But until that time, we will see you guys later. You guys stay safe. We love you, and may the power protect you.